Yo, hi, it's Semmie, and we're back. It has definitely been a very interesting couple of weeks. Currently going through a lot of different life changes, but some of them are looking up, and sometimes they are for the better. But despite all of that, I was also kind of, for some reason, going through some health issues, but we are back and we are finally here kicking. Now today, we are gonna do something a little bit different. I normally do reviews for K-pop and also reaction videos, but Man's Best Friend has definitely been in the back of my mind, and I genuinely thought, let's do an album review of Sabrina Carpenter. I tend to stick to K-pop, but I thought this album honestly is a grower for a lot of people. The single itself still isn't my favorite necessarily, Man Child, but I do want to encourage people to kind of still delve into the album because there are so much more better singles, in my opinion, or even tracks off of the album that I hope that she is, or her label, her team, is going to make a music video out of, or to push as a single to further push the concept of Man's Best Friend. Because I remember I've been watching a lot of different reviews, and one of the main complaints has been the concept not really being clear with some of the singles, and there's a bit of confusion going on. Even with tears, people thought it was actually real tears, but then there was also such innuendo about the tears that were coming down her legs, which was in the lyrics of the song. So controversial album photo of her being on her knees that I'm pretty sure if you haven't seen it, you can see it over here, and it sparked a lot of conversation about feminism and whether this was necessary in order for her to get the message out there, and whether it was shock factor value marketing, and whether that's all that we're seeing kind of nowadays when it comes to a lot of pop acts in order to stay relevant and to stay in the conversation, also to sell tracks. But nonetheless, it has been a while, and so let's just do something refreshing. So what we're gonna do this time a little bit differently, because normally I usually have 3 playlists and I put some of these songs in. What we're gonna do is definitely categorize them into different categories. So first we have a grower. Second, we have high replay value, but background, I would say best used on a playlist or for a project. Third, we have should have been a single. Further complements the concept better of the album, but also should have been can be still, because I'm putting that out there. Hopefully their team sees this. Pushed as a single or music video to further promote the album. Songs with low replay value, or that start off really great, but over a period of time won't age well or be forgettable. Best only on the album for part of a project, it's supportive, it's kind of like a supportive statement, or a supportive role. There's some songs that play a supportive role but don't have a star quality to them, but makes sense for a project. So they either further expound upon the concept of the album, but as a single, you're not too crazy about it. The replay value is low. It feels a little bit free, kind of in the air. It's free falling in the sense of where, yes, you know where it belongs in terms of the genre and everything like that, but when you think about the artists in the new era that they're promoting, it feels like this song needs more. It doesn't necessarily explain itself sonically as to what the artist is trying to convey with this new era in terms of a project, or even with the single itself, and maybe it's the title or the emotion is not fully hitting as the title of the song is. It's neither hitting, but it's neither also a flop. It's free falling. That's what I call it. It's free falling, but the replay value is a little bit low. And there's others where it's the replay value is completely low. It is a little bit forgettable. Doesn't really fit along with the track, or it's something that doesn't have that isn't gonna age as well as maybe as the other tracks would. Once again, all of these tracks can age well. They just, in terms of the impact, significantly I would say on a commercial level, probably not. But maybe for longevity purposes, yeah. Because I feel there are songs that don't commercially go great, but then they age well 10 years down the road when somebody revisits it and they put it in like a music video. I'm sorry, they put it in like a film, and then suddenly it blows up way much more later on. And so it's like, oh, it's doing now commercially because it found a specific pocket where, or something in this particular project really resonated well with the energy of this track, and it just further, it basically dusted off the sheen off of that dusty track, and it just showed the brilliance and what made that track so special to begin with. But you had to really go deep to kind of find it, or find a particular scenario for it to fully shine through. Yeah, those are gonna be my categories. I'm gonna put them right here. Okay, with that being said, if you are new here, we are going to also analyze the lyrics. Not too much. I can't really play the full tracks here. YouTube is going to kind of come, copyright infringement, all that good stuff. So we're going to be reading the lyrics. I will be listening to it in real time, but we'll be going through the lyrics and kind of talk about like the parts of the songs that kind of fell flat, went up, was clever, funny, witty, and then categorize it into these categories that we have here. All right, so without further ado, this is Semmie Sings with an pop album review of Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend. Let's do this. All right, so when it comes to Man Child, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of already did hear it, but I didn't really delve into the lyric. So there's always something to laugh about when it comes to her music, which is it's so funny because I have a song called like Are You Stupid, and I was thinking about releasing it, and it's just so funny because like hearing any hit or comment, but just like it's just so funny. I always get a little chuckle every single time I listen to Sabrina Carpenter's music, which is also so refreshing. Rarely do people like laugh during listening to music. Like rarely. I feel like it's not a common emotion that we tend to think about with songs and with singing. I would definitely say lyric wise, it's interesting. I personally still don't like it as a single. Here's the thing. I think I like this more as a part of the project. Like it's a grower for me for sure, but I still don't feel like it should have been a single. Yeah, Man Child, not my favorite as a single. No. A lot of people said it was a sleeper. A lot of people said they love it. But my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to age as well as Espresso. But I know that in some spaces like country and especially folk and in certain like playlists, I know this would be a great addition to a playlist. And especially when it comes to like certain settings like background music, the hook is so good. Kind of like stomp and clap, but in a very like swing type of move, like it's giving that type of feel. And so when I think about that, it's giving soothing background music. So I definitely think has high replay value, and it is best used on a playlist and for background music, but not particularly as a single, in my opinion. All right, now let's go into Tears. So this song was definitely not bad. I totally get why this was also kind of like why they pushed this as a single and as a music video. It's kind of sexy. It's kind of sexy. I'm iffy on it a little bit, but like I love the lyrics, and the lyrics is so funny because it really does start the conversation about like, man, I can only talk about my personal relationships right now, but literally I would say that this is where I'm currently at, I guess you could say, in my dating journey right now. Kind of like, so funny that people, we applaud people for the bare minimum, which is just simply taking initiative. And it's so funny because that's like the bare minimum. That's not even the goal. It's just, but we applaud that because we live in a generation where there's such a desensitization that anybody who's even taking the initiative or showing an ounce of somewhat consideration is deemed really admirable in this particular society that is so cold and desensitized. Like that's how far that we've gotten, because there's such a temptation to, it's so easy to be so self-absorbed and kind of wrapped in yourself, especially with social media and everything like that, and driven by your goals. And I get it, but like we really are like the selfie, we're beyond the selfie generation, more so the self-content generation, and monitoring generation. So to show or to see somebody take initiative in somebody else's journey for not the sake of trying to like exploit them and actually have it be as like a selfless pure act of actual genuine interest and concern and consideration, that is wow, that is really, really but it still is a bare minimum, because I feel like 20 years ago or even 30 years ago that wasn't the case, right? So anyhow, but the lyrics are definitely hitting for me personally. I resonate hands down with this one. She's really good at the hooks. One thing I'll say about the first liners for a lot of her hooks, especially on this song in Manchild, they're so catchy. They're so they're very impactful and very noteworthy. I get wet at the thought of you and you being a responsible guy. What you mean like you're supposed to do? Like those tears run down my thigh. Like her hooks on a lot of these songs you'll see are just really well. My issue is I think the pre-choruses or even the verses, maybe the style of how verbose some of them are in relation to the vibes of like the vibes of the instrumental, like of the verses, are kind of giving me this, but the words are giving me like. And so there is a little bit of a disconnect from going from here to then like and saying something so thought-provoking. Like the lyricism in this is so thought-provoking that it forces me to kind of chill and stuff. Like I don't want to dance on these lyrics. They're so thought-provoking. Like literally it's stopping me from kind of wanting, because they're so good. Not that because I want to stop because they're bad. I want to stop because I'm like, oh my God, like you just said something that's so on point. Like it just almost hit me like a ton. But I kind of want to sit down with this. Can we sit down and kind of talk about this? It's kind of like somebody like told you something like really, really like groundbreaking in the middle of like a school dance. And you're like, are we supposed to just still dance to this? Can we like sit down and talk for a minute? Like, did you just tell me that your mom just actually had like an abortion and she was like bleeding on her dance floor? Yeah, she was. And it was kind of, and she's giving you like the details while and you're like, this feels uncomfortable to dance on. That's how it feels like with the verses. So she's really going deep here and really saying something really profound. And it's something that I really feel like should be taking time to kind of like delve back and kind of really not just skate or to scat over or to dance over. Even though like I like songs that are deep and sad that you can dance to. Like Rihanna is really good at doing that. What she's talking about is so good. But the main jewel of this whole, I guess you can say the star, is being reused multiple times. And so now it's dulling its luster in the song. How would I explain this? Because I get wet at the thought of you saying it 3 times. By the time you get to the 3rd time, it's starting to lose its luster. The hook is fire, but saying it 3 times now, it kind of decreases its replay value in terms of that. I feel like because I do feel like it's not a bad song. It increases replay value, or what could have increased its replay value is what I would say, is by not repeating it 3 times, but repeating it twice and then have something else to say, like on top of it to tie it all together. Like that's what I feel like would have increased its replay value, or would have made it more like there was something more left for her to say besides just the hook than I heard already from like, I would say from like the earlier parts of the song, because I heard that hook and I'm hearing it 4 times essentially, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I heard it 5 times within the song. 5 times? No. Damn, her saying dance break? I don't know. Now it's too meta. Like, do you know like when somebody's like putting you in on what you're supposed to do, and then it's like, but why are you telling me what you're supposed to do and then saying it? Because now it's kind of not ruining it, but it's kind of making it a little bit more mid. It wasn't going to be mid. It didn't have to be mid, but now you just a little bit. That's what I said. These are things that decrease the replay value. Oh man. I like her vocals here though. I like how she's really singing on the end. I really like how she's singing release the song initially, but then it just went down. So yeah, start well, a little bit forgettable because of the way that it repeats itself and it's the replay value is going low. It's honestly, you know what I would say? It's not completely forgettable but I don't want to play it again. Yeah, I'm literally listening and I'm like, if you would have told me the way that it ended, I don't know why I'm a little bit turned off at like certain parts about what happened throughout the track. There were certain parts that kind of like turned me off, that kind of decreased my love and momentum for it. That kind of didn't excite me, but that kind of was like mid, but I was like, okay, that's cool. And there's some other, like her vocalization towards the end on the last chorus was everything. I fucking loved that. That was that excited me. It kind of was like, oh my God, look at Sabrina. Okay, yes. And I kind of, once you do this live, it's like, okay, yes. So best on a project, low replay value for sure. Why I say it's best on a project is because them being incompetent, but then also them kind of also like you're getting like goosebumps at them being the responsible guy. So it's just, yeah. Once again, the lyrics always gets me. She's so funny. She just really is. Stranger danger, there in my bed at night, wide-eyed dreaming, pondering, scheming. What life without need be like? Can I return it? Get back the version I like. This one's bullshit, baby. So it's like you kind of woke up to a whole different person. Basically, it's like the life that she's basically looking back, right? So it's like he's clingy, he's loving, he always initiates, but now I don't recognize this. So yes, it's not the guy that you met in the beginning, and now it's not giving what you thought your life was gonna give. And trust me, been exactly in this position. Yeah. I'm gonna say this again. My man on Wilp, and I stand on this hill. This is a perfect example of she's saying a lot. This is a very verbose. There's a lot of words here for the hook, but because it glides so smoothly on the track, and even the way it elevates when she goes up on, he used to be literally obsessed with me, like going up there with the track elevates. It almost feels like there was more she could have said even on this chorus, because it was just so smooth. It just blended well with the track so well. So this is why I personally, and I am biased, I'm gonna say this again, so you might be like, oh my, you're biased. Yes, I'm admitting to it. I am biased, okay? Especially on this one. My man on Willpower, in my opinion, should have been a single. And it is a grower. Reason why I say this is because unlike the previous song, Tears, there was so much that was being said that forced me to want to kind of slow down and to really actually go deep into lyrics, and to because she was saying something that was so important, so profound, that I didn't feel like we should be dancing on it with such a type of beat that it felt like we kept on kind of skating over, and we kept on doing that throughout the track. But it's so deep, and not just the verses. Not just the chorus, the verses too, right? This one, it's the right pacing. She's saying a lot. The pacing of the song is slower and kind of a mid-tempo upbeat. It's not too slow, but it's a mid-tempo kind of like once again, it makes you want to rock back and forth, and it still has just enough of a swing in terms of like the pitch to make you still get excited and not get tired of it. So you kind of have like and so that increases the replay value, so that way you kind of want to go on that roller coaster again. So the next time it goes on to the chorus, I kind of want to hear that. Like, it's refreshing. It actually feels like short. It feels short because of the way it's being said on this type of beat, and the way that it swings back and forth. It actually feels short. I'm like, wow, she says a lot here, but it feels short in the way that it's sung. I feel like Man on Willpower should have been a single. For sure. And still can be. It's so good in terms of lyrics. See, my man on Willpower, she literally only repeats the chorus twice, and I already want her to do it again one more time. It left me wanting more, and that's why I say it has a high replay value, and it should have been a single. Okay, so a big aspect of this one, I would say, is a grower, and it has high replay value. Now, my confusion is it best as a background track, or is it something that you would commercially push? And I'm trying to find elements as to why certain songs are best commercially, or basically the discovery is like initially commercializing pushed by and being stereotypically marketed and promoted, versus like kind of ones that go under the radar on their playlist and then they come back out from like the actual GP, like the public is playing it so much so that they then are forced to promote it like they would have been, but they didn't say that this was a single, or they didn't thought that this was going to be the one. Like those are the difference between those two different tracks. Like the journey to getting there is different. So that's why I have those. You can have two songs that have great, high replay value, and they both are growers, and they both have single potential, but how they got there was like one was standalone, traditionally designated as a single from like the labels, and the other was like selected as a single by just like the mass public, the public just simply just streaming the heck out of it, and that they're just, the labels are forced to not ignore it. They can't ignore it, and so therefore they push it as a single because it's like it's doing so well. So they're like, why the hell would we not do this? So that type of thing. In my opinion, I'm still kind of discerning. So let's further play it with Man on Willpower. Time went by so fast, and she was saying so much in such a time period and I was just like, wow, I wanted her to repeat it again. Like I wanted to play that track again. And so this is why I talk about like, it's not about like people, well, I'm gonna say this. When I say I'm bored, it's not because I'm bored. It's because either time is either moving slower because of so much is being said, and it's also dragging out the time, versus another one where time is still going slow, but so much has happened within that time that's bubbly, and that doesn't somehow remind you of the time. It doesn't feel, even though time was dragging, it was an enjoyable time to kind of sit in. Does that make sense? Like, because that just shows you physiologically where your body felt the most drawn to. Your body's the most like honest reaction that I feel like, even though we may say without words, our body speaks more honestly than what we even think. And so I think energetically, I literally felt a dip from you're having these epiphanies because I was just like, oh, we're still up here. And I was like, she has a whole lot to say. And then by the time she goes back to sing the main hook, which is what I like, it feels already dull. It feels, the luster of it just went away. And that sucks because that is such a good hook. It's just tricky. This one's tricky. Yeah, this is tricky. This is sugar talking. Wow. This one's tricky. The production is something that I would honestly say I love. I personally think it has high replay value from especially the way that it started and the way that it's smoothed into the other track. My issue with it is that the way that some parts drag out, but then the words of the lyricism is necessary because she sings such great things. But at the same time, it's like, it's the drag. Yeah. I'm kind of like, the production makes me want to replay value, but the way that the words and the vocal performance and how long verbose it is making me kind of like, it's kind of like dragging it along well. And then there's parts where I'm like, I don't know if I want to fully revisit. Like there's a confusion, there's a tension between me kind of like going back and forth. And that tension is what's making it feel like I don't know if it should be a single. Right? So like if it was up to me, I would say it's best on a project. Because the way that it flows straight after from Man on Willpower to go into Sugar Talk, it was so smooth and effortless. In fact, I think that was the reason why my Man on Willpower had that open kind of like open-ended production sound to me that smoothly went into Sugar Talking. is why I think that it's best on a project. But as a standalone track, it's definitely a little bit it'll start off really well, because I think it starts off really well in terms of like you might end up liking it, but then I think over a period of time people might end up getting bored over a period. Like I don't like it'll come back around, but I think in terms of like a promotion cycle, I think people would be like, I'm gonna let this fall by the wayside. I don't think I'd be like, hey, can you put on Sugar Talking by Sabrina? Like, and if so, for set particular times and places. You get what I'm saying? For set particular times and places, not something that would have been commercial. It's really one of those songs that I really feel like it's specific for a particular type of person, genre, style, country music, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, very specific, and also set times and specific moments. So I would definitely say that Sugar Talking for sure. Okay, let's move on to the next one, because I'm gonna go to it. Bullshit repeats itself. Is that how the saying goes? Been here 1,000 times. Selective memory. I hear it in his eyes. He sees it in my tongue. His words and it's predictable. Honestly, are both. They're best on a project but have low replay value, and they're as a standalone track. But on a project, they make sense. This song makes sense on a playlist, and definitely makes sense as like for background music, and that's definitely the type of vibe that I'm getting. We almost broke up because like at first I didn't like the way that it kind of just started. It kind of was a very abrupt, but it makes sense considering the fact that if you think about the previous song, it really does go straight into it. And also, I love the hook. Once again, her hooks on most of these songs are really, really great because of like the production really kind of brings these hooks to life with some of the words. And the first phrases and the last phrases are so they stand out the most when it comes to these hooks. All the I love you and I'm sorry's were said. Then we almost broke up again last night. Like these lyrics are really, 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 really good. So I would put this as we almost broke up again last night as playlist background music. High replay value on that, especially for a playlist, but specifically for a particular mood and vibe. But I also feel like it's also best on a project as a standalone track because of the way that it starts. It almost kind of like you might feel a little bit like, where did I feel like I got dropped off somewhere, and I'm not sure. But then once again, it rises up to the occasion with the hooks. So that's the reason why I say it's not bad. I wouldn't say it has low replay value. I don't. I think somebody might want to go on replay this song for that effect, especially if you have it. Let's just say you have the song on loop and you constantly play it. I feel like you might eventually end up having like that this song will definitely have a high replay value. It's what they call like a grower or slow burner. Like eventually over a period of time, it takes a while for you to kind of like get into it. So I would put like this song, in my opinion, we almost broke up last night, as a best on a project, a grower, but not as a standalone track, but as a playlister, right? Because I feel like growers for a high replay value standalone track means like mass marketing, and then there's also like grower as a marketing as a playlisting background music, which is what this one is, which means that they both have high replay value, but one sneaks up on you over a period of time, and the other one is instant but works better for background music because it doesn't still give a hit or a single that should be commercialized, but would work best on a particular mood setting and a particular vibe. So that's exactly what I would say for this one. We almost broke up, yeah. Wow, I gave him head and then we almost broke up again. That's crazy. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Okay, this is taking a little bit longer, but we are doing Nobody's Son. This is literally my bias. I am obsessed with this one. I actually say I personally saved. And I'll give you the reasons why, so let's get into it. Nobody's Son. It just makes you chuckle. It's very funny. It has a high replay value. I did think initially it would be good as a single, but I think a lot of people would find it, depending upon for commercialized purposes and for what she's known already. In terms of her branding, I don't think this would be the smart move. I personally do think that it has high replay value as a standalone track. Yeah, and it's definitely great on what I was saying about a mood place. So it's definitely for specific individuals. So I would put it in two places. Best on a project, because it's honestly my favorite off of this project. It made me chuckle, made me die, laughing. It's unfortunate, I kind of, once again, it paints the picture right from actually almost broke up again to actually then him breaking up with her, which is basically what this is. But then also kind of having like the ability, that sense of feeling of like, damn, I don't believe in nobody's son anymore. I don't believe in no man. So it's giving best on a project for sure, Nobody's Son. It has high replay value right now. I don't know why, but it's a little bit dull, but you'll see what ends up happening later on. It's because we're like in the first couple of seconds or a minute in, I think. So obviously Nobody's Son, best on a project for now. I'm gonna see how it feels towards the end, but best on a project. And it is a grower on a playlist, specific playlist, and set mood and time. So that's another one I'll put. It has high replay value as a grower, as a playlist, on playlist, and for background music. It was funny. I was like, yo, that boy is correct. Yes, I'm talking about your baby. He sure fucked me up. Totally get it. Yeah. Actually, I stand by my choice. I wouldn't push it as a single. It's definitely best on a project, and it does still feel open-ended. And like, again, it feels and glides straight into, similar to how Man on Willpower went into Sugar Talking went straight into this one. This one went straight into Nobody's Son. And I think that Nobody's Son was leaving. Nobody's Son, we almost broke in last night, felt closed. Nobody's Son felt open and felt like the opener for Never Getting Laid. So yeah, you get my point. And so, yeah, I stand by my decision. I thought it was going to change and be like a single. I guess not. It is giving me best on a project. And it's also high replay value, but as a grower on a playlist or as background music. That's what it's giving. Not really more so standalone mass marketing track for what her current brand or people know her to be as right now. I like this. And why, I'll tell you why, is because despite that kind of like throwing me off, it really extends her artistry and her capability of a live performance. You don't see this too often nowadays. Somebody just, especially as a singer, to be able to kind of have like a cut within the production like that and then sing something like that almost feels, it doesn't even sound like it belongs with that track, but it further extends upon the message of it. So that's interesting, and it's unusual, and I think that's something that, like, it may not go viral, fine, but it is something, like I was saying, that extends her artistry, and that if she wants to do another project where it's something like this or something more stripped down and laid, we can be like, well, we didn't see, like, it's not a surprise now, considering the fact that she laid this down. She gave you a prelude of what these things can sound like or what she can do as an artist, versatility-wise, with her sound. And I think this is one of the sounds that you can anticipate in our next project, and I think that's kind of nice. So that's why I would say I like Never Getting Laid for best on a project, but I think for her artistry, I would put it as a B title track, which is something that you would probably, not heavily push, but side push after you push the main single, which would be Man on Willpower, which would have been like the main single and what you would mass market and promote. That's what I think so. And it just has high replay value. This should have been the single. Oh. Now this song, I'm caping for this way more than any song. This is my favorite song on the whole entire album. When I tell you, I literally laughed. And it was just like, because it's a song that I could literally picture at a rom-com. And I'm like, this is a real track? You really hear this type of like like phrase in a rom-com or in a series or a drama where like a girl's drunk and she's like, who's this? Tommy, Bob, like, when did you get hot? Like, either because she's drunk or she just didn't see him in that type of way. And to have that in a song, because that's such a real emotion where you see certain individual and you don't actually hear that be talked about. Normally you just have a song where somebody just comes and swings your way, but never literally admitting like you didn't know when this person actually got so hot. And I love that that's the hook. And it's like, it just felt like a parody. It didn't feel serious to me. And I was just like, oh no, this should have been the single. This should have been the single. This is another song that I felt like was so fun and was just like, don't take it too seriously. Oh my God, When Did You Get High is another one that I would have mass promoted. Oh my goodness. Or that I hope that they will, because it's so good. When Did You Get High is so funny. How you know it's good. We are halfway through the lyricism, and you know how much she said in such a short period of time? You didn't feel it, did you? Because that's how smooth it was. That's how you know we have a hit. The fact that it just went like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We are halfway, almost a quarter of the way of this whole entire song, and it just slid. I was like, it was so smooth the way this song came to me. I was like, what is this? Wow. And she said a lot. She said a lot here. She broke it down, the scenario, the production, it has a little bit of a bounce, but it's not trying too hard. It feels effortlessly kind of like, and then like, and the emotion of what she's saying matches the vibe of what the energy of the lyrics is. There's kind of like this lighthearted evanescence feel to it. She's not trying to, like, and that's kind of how it hit me. It hit me because it wasn't trying to be anything. And I think that's exactly what I love about this track. Grower, I stand by my statement. High replay value, Standalone should have been an A-side. It's not a B-side for sure. It is an A-side. I prefer this song more than Man on Willpower. It's funny. It's cute. There's so many moments. It's an inside joke. I see so many clips possibly people can make like out of TikToks out of. It's best on a project too. It further kind of goes into it too as well. It kind of further explains a little bit, not the concept of man's best child, but actually kind of the story that she has on the album. So you can say that it kind of forces you to kind of be like, where does this fall on the project? Because it does, right, and when you look at the sequence, it makes sense as to how it ended up there when you get hot from like never getting laid. Because now you're yearning for like activity after kind of maybe wrapping around your head that you wish they never get laid, but you're also wondering if you'll ever never get laid. Because of like they're kind of saying that they need you, they want you, but like all this is messing up with your head. So now you're kind of like, to be honest, you're kind of horny, which is a sentiment that I feel like Sabrina does not shy away from in her music. She's always trying to show that she's horny. The verses kind of lag for me. Once again, one of the key parts of what I will always say this about this album, I think what makes it, can I be honest, not make it a full bore, is a lot of the, and I think I've heard this too about some people were saying how all of our songs sound the same. What they're actually referring to, can I be honest, that they may not even be cognizant of, is the hooks. The hooks all have a similar production on top. She doesn't go too far off from the production. What I mean is that like if the sound of the production is here, I'm just sitting and versus like, and once again, as a singer-songwriter, there are some songs where the music is this, and I've heard artists go, like they try to almost go probably in and underneath and around the track, so they might even go lower than like, so let's just say, like some might go underneath the actual pitch of that production or of that instrumental. Like they go in and out of it, or they go in different pockets of that pitch of that actual instrument or whatever its production, like whatever the band is playing. She sits right on top of it and goes probably, I would say, just enough for it to like, maybe 2 or 3 times, like I would say, not octaves, maybe pitches. Yeah, pitches. That's what it sounds like, pitches. 2, 3 pitches above it. Which is where it's naturally, like, I can't say it, but it's kind of a little bit on the nose of whatever the main instrument is playing. Like she's singing along with the instrument. It's not. I'm not being surprised by some of her melodies, or even like sometimes I am a little bit by her inflections and her riffs and runs, or I would say her. No, I would say her inflections and her melodies. Sometimes her end melodies, she kind of surprises me a little bit there. The choruses are shaving it, but the problem is that its replay value is definitely low. I don't even think it's that great on the project, can I be honest? Go Juice. I know that she's drinking, but from then to then go, no. And for certain, her audience, which is kind of giving me like, no offense, country. So I don't think they would align with some of the values that are kind of on here. And I know she was saying she get right in Arkansas, but this is so that sound, but even right, like it's so that sound like for them, but I don't think they're attributed to the lyrics of it. And I also think that its replay value is kind of low because it drags. It a little bit drags because the verses were parts I was waiting for her to. I was waiting for it to get to the hook. I was kind of like, oh okay, like, but I was listening to kind of get through it, not listening in excitement and kind of like and then and then it got refreshing. It was kind of like when we got to the hook, I was like, thank God we got there. Like. That's kind of the feeling. I like a song is when there's so many moments within the song that I like that attribute it to me saying, oh, I would definitely replay this. Personally, for me, there's so many moments of this song that I don't like and that are lagging too long for me. Not because of my attention span, but because the energy of the track is already like that. So to match it also and then do it again almost plainly or kind of like jokingly like like, really? that type of thing. It's kind of like, I'm already like stretched here. I love the hook for this. That's a sound part too. I really do. I love the hook for this. So I'm conflicted. This does not start well. This song does not start well to me at all, so I turn out my favorite. It's definitely low replay value in general, standalone project. Yeah, this is probably the only one I would say I genuinely don't like at all. Like I do like aspects of it, but it would be in my dislike list for sure. Not because I hate everything about it, but because there's more parts of it that I hate than I like. See her performing this live, and it kind of growing on you. The conflict, and I feel like it can grow on you too. But don't worry, I'll make you worry. I heard a lot of people say good things about this one. It feels messy. I feel like it could have been tighter. And I know it's probably trying to be like a little bit lazy, like, oh, like it's giving. So, don't worry, I'll make you worry. The production sounds like a drunk band playing, but I think it makes sense considering the fact that right after Go Juice is about liquor, is about what I'm saying. This is what I was saying. I think it makes sense for the project. It's best on a project. This is definitely a song that don't worry, I'll make you worry. It makes total sense. But in my can I be honest? It feels forgettable, in my opinion. I'm not sure if it'll age well. That's what it is. And it has a low replay value in terms of, so there's a lot of things. So it's like, don't worry. I thought it was actually a really great song because I like the concept of it. I really do, but I think the concept of it is outstanding. The actual execution of it. And I think when people talk about how it felt underwhelming, this album felt underwhelming, they might be referring to the energy of this track. It's very low. And I know, once again, I understand it from the aspect of the plot, right? The plot is the Go Juice. And then now the band is kind of giving that drunken feel of after the effect of the Go Juice. And you're like, oh, worry, I'll make you worry. Like, it's giving that. And that's exactly... So when I think about like the plot, it makes sense. And when I even think about it, even from like a stage, a live performance, and you're trying to do a theatrical type of thing for your concert where you put on the whole narrative, it makes sense that at this part of the show or like the story, you're at the drunken state. You're drunk and you're a hangover. This is the hangover song basically. Don't worry, I'll make you worry. Yeah. I genuinely don't like this song. I don't. I don't. I really don't. I think it's too, it can be tighter. But it makes sense for the project in terms of this plot. So that's why I'll say like best on the project, best on or this project for the story. Low replay value for me as a standalone track to it may, you know what, as a standalone track, depending upon the playlist, might work. That's another thing. It might work on a standalone playlist. If you mark it as like a as a single, I don't think so, no. Will it age well? I'm still determining whether it age well or it is forgettable. So okay, that was it, guys. Unfortunately, my phone kind of died, and also my lighting is kind of acting up. But that was it for Sabrina Carpenter's album review. I hope you can enjoy it. Please follow, like, and subscribe. There will be more. I will also put up some more shorts, and hopefully we can also react to more pop album reviews. I believe Georgia Cat is also coming up with hers, Cardi B as well. And I'm still obviously go over K-pop as well. You know, I still can't leave my K-pop lovers. So I'm gonna be going over all those. And so take care and see you guys soon. Love you. Bye.